Ever been stuck on a plane, uh, sweating it out on the tarmac, wondering why that luggage truck seems to be taking its sweet time?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, today's deep dive is all about the folks who make sure that doesn't happen. The rental service representatives keeping the air transport world spinning smoothly.
It's a mouthful, for sure.
It is a mouthful.
But it hints at the behind-the-scenes magic these folks work. You've sent us some great resources from RoleCatcher, like their career guides, interview prep materials, and platform overview. It seems like you're curious to go beyond just the job title
Right.
and really understand the nitty-gritty of this role and whether it might be the right fit for you.
Yeah, it's like we see the planes, the baggage handlers, the folks at the gate, but there's this whole ecosystem of equipment we rarely think about until it's missing, and then it's all we can think about.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. What do these rental service representatives actually do all day?
Hmm.
Well, in a nutshell, they're the crucial link between the companies that own specialized air transport equipment and the airlines that need it, often on short notice. We're not just talking about renting out cars here. Think engine stands, those massive structures that hold an airplane engine during maintenance, or tow bars, which are like giant, super strong trailer hitches for maneuvering aircraft on the ground.
Okay. I'm already starting to understand why just handing someone the keys and saying, "See ya," wouldn't cut it. What does the RoleCatcher guide say about the most important aspects of the job?
It emphasizes customer satisfaction because time is money at an airport. And a delayed piece of equipment could mean a grounded plane and a whole lot of frustrated passengers. They also handle contracts, determine rental periods, and troubleshoot any issues that come up.
That makes sense. This isn't renting out party supplies. These rentals keep planes flying, which is a pretty high-stakes game.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
And while RoleCatcher highlights perks like a flexible schedule and potential travel opportunities, those often come with trade-offs.
Mm-hmm.
Think irregular hours, last-minute requests, and having to stay cool as a cucumber when a client is breathing down your neck because their cargo loader is stuck in traffic.
That's a great point. It's not just about planes and parts. It's about people under pressure. The guide did mention that, right? This potential for high stress. So someone who thrives in a fast-paced environment and can think on their feet would be a good fit for this kind of role.
Absolutely. And beyond the right personality, you'd need a particular set of skills and knowledge. The guide mentions strong organization, attention to detail, and a solid understanding of air transport equipment. You'd need to know more than just what a piece of equipment is. You'd need to understand its function, its importance in the grand scheme of airport operations.
That makes sense. Like, you'd need to know the difference between a pushback tug and a tow bar and which aircraft types they work with. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to match the right equipment to the right task. RoleCatcher's career guides probably have a ton of info on this, don't they?
They do. And it's incredibly detailed. It seems like they've thought of everything to help someone understand if this line of work is right for them.
So let's say someone is intrigued by this rental service representative gig. What does the career progression look like?
Well, the guide outlines a path from trainee to senior representative. It seems experience counts for a lot in this field.
Which makes sense, right? The more experience you have, the better you can anticipate challenges, troubleshoot problems, and build those all-important relationships with clients. And speaking of building a career, RoleCatcher has those salary insights that show how compensation changes at different seniority levels, right?
They do, which can be incredibly helpful when it comes to negotiation and understanding your worth as you advance in your career.
That's huge. Knowledge is power, especially in today's job market. But let's say someone's early in their career journey. What about landing that very first job as a rental service representative? What should someone be focusing on?
That's where RoleCatcher's interview prep materials really shine. They have this amazing database with thousands of practice questions, each tailored to specific roles. It's like having a sneak peek into the minds of potential employers.
Thousands of practice questions.
Thousands.
That's incredible. They've got you covered from trainee to senior representative.
It's quite impressive. And what I find particularly useful is how they highlight key questions for each role. For aspiring rental service representatives, they specifically focus on two biggies. How would you handle a difficult customer? And how do you stay updated on those ever-changing industry trends?
Those are great questions, and they really get to the heart of what this job is all about, right? Because like we were talking about earlier, you've got to be able to think on your feet, stay calm under pressure, and make sure those planes keep flying even when things get a little turbulent.
Exactly. These questions aren't just about checking boxes. They're about gauging a candidate's understanding of the role's demands and their ability to thrive in this fast-paced environment.
So it's not enough to just know the stuff. You have to be able to talk about it in a way that shows you can handle whatever comes your way.
Precisely. And this is where preparation is key. Taking the time to think through those questions. Come up with solid examples from your own experience. That's what sets you apart.
It's like anyone can say they're a people person. But if you can tell a compelling story about a time you deftly handled a frustrated passenger who was about to miss their connection because of a missing baggage loader, well, that speaks volumes.
Exactly. And the same goes for staying updated on industry trends. It's one thing to skim the headlines, but if you can speak in detail about a specific technological advancement or regulatory change and how it impacts the work of a rental service representative, that shows you're truly engaged.
It's like you're not just passively absorbing information, you're actively thinking about it, analyzing it, and figuring out how it fits into the bigger picture.
Exactly. And that kind of initiative and insight, that's what makes you stand out as a candidate.
It's like you always say, knowledge is power, but being able to articulate that knowledge effectively, that's next level.
Absolutely. And speaking of knowledge and preparation, there's another aspect that the RoleCatcher platform addresses that I find incredibly helpful.
Oh, do tell.
Well, they actually encourage you to think beyond that specific job title. They have this whole section dedicated to alternative titles.
Interesting. So, like, what else might someone with these skills and interests explore within the aviation industry? That's pretty cool.
It is. Because let's face it, job titles can be limiting. What you're really looking for is a role that aligns with your skills, your interests, and your career goals.
Yeah.
And sometimes broadening your search terms, thinking outside that initial job title box, can lead to some really interesting opportunities.
So instead of just searching for a rental service representative, you might stumble upon openings for aviation equipment coordinator or aircraft ground support specialist.
Exactly. Or even roles in logistics, fleet management, or procurement, all of which could utilize those same core skills.
It's like using a thesaurus for your job search. You're expanding your vocabulary and uncovering possibilities you might have otherwise missed.
Precisely. And the beauty of this approach is that it forces you to think more broadly about your skill set.
Yeah.
It's not just about what you've done. It's about what you're capable of doing.
It's about those transferable skills, right? The ones that can be applied across different roles and industries.
Exactly. Like those organizational skills, that ability to manage multiple tasks, meet deadlines, and keep things running smoothly. That's valuable in any field.
And that customer service experience. Being able to handle difficult situations with diplomacy and professionalism, that's a huge asset, especially in a high-stakes environment like aviation.
Absolutely. And let's not forget problem solving. Being able to think on your feet, find creative solutions, and stay calm under pressure. Those are skills that transcend industries.
So even if someone's prior experience isn't directly related to aviation, if they can highlight those transferable skills, they might be surprised at the opportunities that open up.
I couldn't agree more. It's about showcasing the value you bring to the table, regardless of the specific job title.
And that requires a bit of self-reflection, right? Taking stock of your strengths, your experiences, and figuring out how they align with the demands of the role and the values of the company.
Precisely. It's about connecting the dots for the interviewer, showing them how your journey, your unique set of skills and experiences has led you to this point.
It's like telling your story in a way that's both authentic and compelling.
Exactly. And that's what makes you memorable. Because at the end of the day, people hire people, not resumes.
So true. They're looking for someone who's a good fit for their team, someone who brings passion and energy to the table.
And that passion, that enthusiasm, it shines through when you're genuinely excited about the work, when you've taken the time to understand the industry and the role, and when you can articulate your value with confidence.
So our listener is diligently researching those alternative job titles, brushing up on their industry knowledge and crafting compelling stories that showcase their skills and experience. But how can they make sure they're truly prepared to knock those interview questions out of the park? What else does RoleCatcher recommend?
Well, they emphasize the importance of going beyond general statements and providing specific examples.
Right, because anyone can say they're a hard worker or a team player.
Exactly. But if you can illustrate those qualities with concrete examples from your past experiences, that's what makes your answers memorable and impactful.
Let's say the interviewer asks about a time you handled a difficult customer. A strong answer wouldn't just say, oh, I'm great with people.
Right. They'd want to hear a concrete example, a specific situation where you successfully navigated a challenging interaction.
Like that time you calmed down a frantic passenger who was about to miss their flight because of a misplaced ticket.
Exactly. And It doesn't have to be a dramatic save-the-day kind of story. It could be something as simple as dealing with a frustrated customer who's facing a flight delay.
It's about demonstrating your thought process, your ability to stay calm under pressure, and your commitment to finding a solution.
And the same principle applies to that question about staying updated on industry trends.
You wouldn't just say, oh, I read industry publications sometimes.
Right. You'd want to talk about a specific trend that caught your attention, why it resonated with you, and perhaps even how you see it impacting the role of a rental service representative.
It's about showing that you're not just passively consuming information, you're actively engaging with it, thinking critically about its
That's right.
implication.
And that level of engagement, that passion for the industry, it shines through in an interview.
It makes you memorable. And in a sea of qualified candidates, isn't that what you want?
Absolutely. It's about showing that you're not just looking for any job. You're looking for this job in this industry because you're genuinely interested in it.
Passion is contagious. When you're genuinely excited about something, it's hard for others not to get swept up in that enthusiasm.
And that, my friend, is how you leave a lasting impression.
Okay, but let's be real for a moment. Not everyone feels comfortable tooting their own horn. What advice would you give to someone who's naturally more reserved, who might downplay their accomplishments?
That's a great point. Because humility is a virtue, but in the context of a job interview, it can sometimes work against you.
It's about finding that balance between confidence and arrogance.
Exactly. And one way to do that is to shift your mindset. Instead of thinking about it as bragging, think about it as sharing your story, your journey.
It's about connecting the dots for the interviewer, showing them how your skills and experiences have led you to this point.
And even if you're not someone who loves being in the spotlight, remember that the interviewer is giving you their time and attention for a reason. They see something in your resume, in your application, that sparked their interest.
So it's your chance to help them connect the dots to bring your story to life.
And to do that, you need to own your accomplishments. Don't be afraid to talk about your successes, the challenges you've overcome.
Because those experiences, even the tough ones, have shaped you into the candidate you are today.
And that's something worth sharing.
It's about telling your story with authenticity and enthusiasm.
Because at the end of the day, people hire people.
So true. They're not just looking for a set of skills on a resume. They're looking for someone who's a good fit for their team, someone who brings passion and energy to the table.
And that's something that can't be faked. It has to come from a place of genuine enthusiasm.
So our listener has done their research, prepped for those tough questions.
Yeah.
Any final words of wisdom as they head into that interview? I love that. And what a perfect note to transition into the close of our deep dive into the fascinating world of a rental service representative in air transport equipment. It's been so interesting unpacking not only the day-to-day of this vital role, but also those transferable skills that can be applied across different career paths.
It's been a pleasure to dive into this with you. I think this role offers a great example of how specialized skills often go hand in hand with those broadly applicable abilities that employers value in all sorts of fields.
Absolutely. It's like even if someone listening isn't specifically looking to become a rental service representative, we've touched on so many universally relevant aspects of career development today.
We have. We've talked about the importance of staying curious, of constantly learning and growing, and of recognizing the value of your own experiences, even those that might not seem directly related to your chosen field.
Exactly. It's like that time you had to scramble to find a replacement part for a broken down forklift. Might not scream aviation expert, but it probably taught you a lot about problem-solving resourcefulness and staying calm under pressure.
Right. And those are qualities that any employer would love to see on a resume, regardless of the industry.
So true. It's all about connecting those dots, showing how your unique journey has equipped you with the skills and resilience to thrive in any environment.
And for those who are specifically interested in the aviation industry, I think this deep dive has highlighted the incredible range of opportunities out there.
It really has.
Yeah.
It's not just about being a pilot or a flight attendant. There's this whole ecosystem of behind-the-scenes roles that are crucial to keeping the industry running smoothly.
Absolutely. And within that ecosystem, there's room for a variety of skills, interests, and personalities.
Absolutely. So if you're someone who thrives in a fast-paced environment, loves problem solving, and has a knack for keeping things organized, the world of air transport equipment rental might just be your perfect landing spot.
It might be. And you know what? Even if it's not the skills you develop along the way, those will stay with you no matter where your career path takes you.
Such a powerful reminder. Well, with that, it's time for us to taxi to the gate and wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive. Thank you so much to our amazing expert for joining us today and sharing such insightful perspectives.
It was my pleasure.
And to you, our curious listener, thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of rental service representatives and air transport equipment. Remember, the best career advice often comes from exploring different paths, even the unexpected ones.
So stay curious, stay engaged, and most importantly, stay open to the possibilities.
Beautifully said. Until next time, keep those career goals soaring high. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a new and fascinating field. Until then, happy learning.